iOS 14 was recently released, at least depending on when you see this video, and with it came a ton of new features, improvements, and enhancements. In this video, I want to go over some of my favorite new features and share with you some useful tips along the way. To kick it off, we have one of my favorite new features, and that's assigning default apps. Now, right now, at the time of this video, you can only set your default browser and email app, which is still a huge step in the right direction for Apple. Let me show you how to go about doing this. So this is all going to come down to whether or not the app developer has enabled this feature inside of their app. I do know for a fact that Microsoft Outlook, Microsoft Edge, Spark, and Gmail all allow you to assign them as your default apps. To find out, you're going to go into your settings, scroll down until you see your app. So we're going to do Edge first, tap on Edge. And you're going to see the option right here for default browser app. Just tap on that and then select your default browser. So in this case, it's Edge. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to locate Spark, tap on Spark. And you're going to see it right here, default mail app. It's already assigned for Spark, but if you're using Gmail or Outlook, you'll see those pop up here as well. So now if I tap on an email address inside of a text message or a website link on social media, it's going to open up my default app of choice. To give you an example, I'm inside of the DHL app, and right here we have an email address for customer support. If I tap on it, you can see it automatically launches Spark instead of the stock Apple Mail app. This is something I really appreciate. iOS really has never been about customization unless you jailbreak, which comes with its own set of issues. Apple has set out to change this slightly by improving the way we use and set up our widgets. Let me show you. So if you take a look at my home screen, you can see I have a widget right here in the middle, which is something different and new versus what we could do before. So if you take a look at my home screen, you can see I have a widget right in the center. This is something different and new compared to what we could do before. And to go one step further, I can cycle through different widgets. So I have my reminders. I have a Google search widget. I have the weather widget, and then I have a calendar. This is considered a smart stack, which you can assign or create your own custom smart stack, which we'll talk about here in a minute. So if you want to put widgets on your home screen, you're going to swipe over and go to your little widgets page here. You can tap on edit and then the plus icon to bring in new widgets, or you can use the ones that are already there, depending on what you want to do. Just tap your finger on one, hold it, and then drag it to where you want to place your widget. You can place it on the first screen or the second screen. So I placed that one on the second screen. Now you can go back over and take a widget of the same size, drag it, and then place it on top of the other widget. As soon as we find it, it's kind of glitching out right here. So now it's on top of the other widget. If I tap done, I can cycle through those two widgets now. So this is a great way so this is definitely welcomed and a great way to customize your home screen, but there's a little bit more that you can do with these custom widgets. If you touch and hold on a stack of widgets, you can tap on edit stack, and now you can edit those widgets that are included in that stack. So the first option is Smart Rotate. By default, it's turned on. This just means that iOS is going to automatically cycle through those widgets. You can toggle that off if you want to. I like to keep it off just to conserve a little bit of battery life. You can also drag and organize your widget stacks, and then you can swipe to remove them from the stack altogether. So we're gonna go ahead and delete this widget just by holding down and then tapping on Remove Widget. Some widgets actually have more settings than others. Let me show you. If we go to the calendar widget and then touch and hold, we can tap on Edit Calendar. And these are going to be settings that are independent to that specific widget. So the calendar has independent settings. So does the weather widget. You can tap on Edit Weather, and now you can input your location manually if you choose to do so. So there are a few widgets that have more settings than others. While customization is still far from what you'll get on Android, it's still better than what it was. Another thing that's better is app organization thanks to App Library. With App Library, iOS will automatically organize your apps based on certain categories. To access App Library, just swipe over to the very last page and boom, there you are. So you have suggestions, recently added utilities, productivity and finance, social, shopping and food, creativity, entertainment, other, information and reading, travel, and health and fitness. I'm sure there might be more categories out there, but based off the apps that I have on my phone, these are the categories that iOS automatically categorized my apps in. To do a quick search, just pull down, and now you can search for an app just by typing it in, or you can view your apps in alphabetical order. There's a couple more things that you should be aware of when it comes to using App Library, because I think it's really powerful and something that iOS has been missing for a while. So let's say you want to have one main page with all of your most used apps and then a couple widgets. And then your next page become the App Library. However, you've already created a couple pages and you don't want those to just get deleted in case you change your mind later on in the future. You can actually hide pages now and then have your second page become the App Library. Let me just show you because that's a lot of words. So let's say I wanted to hide this page and then this page become my App Library. So I'm going to touch and hold down on the display, make sure everything is jiggling around, tap on the three little dots down here on the bottom, and you can see my pages are right here. The ones with the check marks means that they're visible, and then this page is hidden. So I'm going to go ahead and hide that second page, tap done again. Now I have my main page with my most used apps and my custom widget. Swipe over, there's my app library. I think this is a very clean setup and a great way to keep your phone organized. Another cool feature is picture-in-picture. The settings should be enabled by default, but if it isn't, let me show you where it is and how to use it. In order to make sure picture-in-picture is turned on, go into your settings, go under general, and then look for picture-in-picture. Tap on that and make sure that it is toggled on, and it's set to start automatically. There's a few things that you should be aware of. Currently, not all apps support picture-in-picture due to developers having to enable it within their apps. Hopefully, as updates start to roll out to these apps, we'll start to see more and more support. Things like Netflix and Hulu definitely should support this. YouTube, there's a lot of conflict of interest going on because of YouTube Red and YouTube Premium subscriptions. With iOS, you have to pay for that subscription in order to stream content in the background. And with picture-in-picture, it pretty much allows you to do this, but there is a workaround using Safari. If we dive into Safari, I'll show you exactly what I mean. You can see I'm on the YouTube website here. If I expand the video and then swipe up, you can see I have picture-in-picture right here. Now, if I want to hide this video, I can just swipe it over. You can see it kind of hides it, but it's still going to play in the background. And if I tap the arrow, it's going to pull it back out. You can resize it, and you can also drag it around to a different location. So there's a lot that you can do with picture-in-picture, but I think one of the biggest benefits to picture-in-picture is with FaceTime. So now whenever you're making a FaceTime call and you want to look up something on your phone and you get out of that call, rather than the person on the other end just staring at a blank screen or a frozen screen, you can actually continue your call because picture-in-picture will place your FaceTime call in a little window just like you see here. So I think that's really neat and something that iOS was definitely missing. Speaking of YouTube, one feature that is supposedly coming thanks to iOS 14 is the ability to stream YouTube content in resolutions higher than 1080p. Unfortunately, I'm not able to show you an example just yet since Google hasn't rolled this out in an update, but from what I gather, it is coming soon. Heck, depending on when you see this video, it might already be out. One thing that has really annoyed me with previous iOS versions is when receiving a call or a FaceTime call while in the middle of doing something, instead of like a small alert, the call would fill the entire screen and directly interfere with whatever it was you were doing. Luckily, this has been fixed with iOS 14. Let me give you a quick example as well as where to find these settings. If you want to adjust your phone call or FaceTime notification settings, dive into the main settings, scroll down until you see phone, tap on phone, and then you have incoming calls up here at the top, tap on that. And now you can change from full screen to banner or from banner to full screen. Banner is going to give you the much smaller notification drop-down box at the top versus the extremely intrusive full screen notification. The same thing can be done with FaceTime. Just scroll down until you see FaceTime, tap on it, tap on incoming calls, and now you can change from full screen to banner or vice versa. If you tend to have a lot of conversations going inside of your Messages app or interact inside of group messages, then you're going to love these next two features. In order to show you these features, we need to go into the Messages app, and you can see at the top I have a pinned conversation. So basically you can pin conversations with the people that you talk to most often. So I have my wife up here because I talk to her every single day. So I pin that conversation at the top so I can access it on the fly at any given point in time. To pin a conversation, you can swipe and then tap on the little pin right here, and it's going to pin the conversation. Or you can just drag and drop, just like you just saw. So I can drag it to the top, or I can touch and hold and then drag it to unpin it. So there's different ways that you can pin conversations, and I think this is a great little feature. Another thing that you can do is whenever you're in a group message, you can actually reply to someone's question directly versus responding to like the entire group. Let me show you what I mean. So I have a group chat right here. We'll say my brother Nick asked me a question. I can respond back by touching and holding and then tapping on reply, and now my comment back will be directed towards him versus everybody else in the group. So only he'll be alerted of my response versus everybody. So I'm not a huge Memoji guy, but I can't deny the fact that they are fun. iOS 14 brings a few new things. We have 11 new hairstyles, new stickers to send fist bumps, hugs, or a blush, 6 age options, and we now have face coverings. One thing I've always avoided using on my iPhone is Apple Maps. It's just been a very unpleasant experience to say the least, but iOS 14 might change that. Not only that, but it brought a plethora of new features and enhancements. First of all, we have some updates to cycling directions. They now provide routes for bike lanes, bike paths, and bike-friendly roads. Guides offer recommendation for places to eat, meet friends, or explore. It's curated by a selection of trusted brands, and you can also add a widget right on your home screen. Electric vehicle routing helps you plan a trip with your supported electric vehicle and is automatically going to add charging stops along your way. We have congestion zone routing, meaning that it's going to reroute you around super heavy congested areas. We also now have speed cameras, which will let you know when you're approaching a red light and whether or not that red light has a camera. Based off my use, it's not completely accurate, but it still does a pretty good job. Last but not least, we have some location enhancements or improvements. We have refined location, which basically enables high accurate location and orientation whenever you're in like a city that has a lot of high buildings and they're interfering with your GPS signal. This is something that has plagued iPhones for the longest, especially when it comes to Apple Maps. So I'm happy that hopefully this will fix that. Have you ever been in a situation where you click on a link or try to open a website and it immediately takes you to the App Store to download an app that you really don't want to download? Well, this next iOS feature hopefully fixes that. It's called App Clips. In short, App Clips allows you to use a specific part of an app on demand without having to download that app. To give you an example, if I go into Maps and I did a search for Panera Bread, you can see there's an option to order food. If I tap on that, it's going to launch the Panera Bread app, even though I don't have it installed on my phone. That way I can place an order. But unfortunately, they're under maintenance. But yeah, in a real world scenario, this would not be there and it would allow me to go through, scroll through their menu and place my order. Right now, App Clips is limited until more developers update their apps to support this feature, which I'm really pumped about. For now, here's a new feature that you can use right now that works really good. And that feature is the brand new Translate app. So we'll just do a quick search for Translate, tap on it, and this is the new Translate app. So you can type in the text that you want to translate. So we're gonna go ahead and type in, hello, how are you? And it's going to translate to Spanish. Go ahead and end it with a question mark to make it a little bit more proper. Tap go and hit the play button. Hola, ¿cómo estás? So you can see it will read it back in the translated language. You can also speak the text. How's the weather today? And now we'll... ¿Qué tiempo hace hoy? So now it's going to read it back in Spanish, and you could do it vice versa. If you want to have a conversation with somebody, you can go into landscape and it's going to split it. So you can have one person over here and then you over here or vice versa. It's really neat, a very powerful app and something that you should, tinker around and play with. One of the best accessories you can buy for your iPhone are AirPods and AirPods Pro. With iOS 14, they've gotten even better. So AirPods now support spatial audio. To enable it, go into your settings, scroll down and go under accessibility, go down and tap on AirPods, and then go all the way to the bottom and look for spatial audio. By default, follow iPhone is on. If you toggle it off, it's actually going to put your head almost in like space. Therefore, if you turn to the right, you're gonna get a different sounding experience versus looking forward. I know it sounds crazy, but it's pretty awesome, especially if you want like a 3D surround sound kind of effect for gaming and stuff like that. You're gonna really, really dig it. If you use multiple Apple devices like a Mac computer and then an iPad and an iPhone, then you probably already know the process of switching your AirPods from one device to another. Now, if you started watching a video on your MacBook, for instance, and then you wanted to pick up from where you left off on your iPad, your AirPods will automatically switch over to your iPad once you start listening to that content. It's pretty cool. It might save you a ton of time. You'll also get battery notifications on your phone now, so if your AirPods start to die, you'll actually receive a notification right on your phone saying, hey, you need to charge them. Privacy is a huge concern and something that I really don't see calming down anytime soon. Luckily, this is something that Apple takes very seriously, and with iOS 14, there are some great new security enhancements. The first thing is this nice little indicator that lets you know whether or not an app is taking advantage of your microphone or your camera. So if I dive into the camera app, you can see right here like a little green light pops up right next to the camera. That means that the camera is in use. If I go into Instagram, for example, you can see right now the camera is not in use, but if I swipe over and then enable camera access and enable microphone access, now it is being accessed. And if I swipe back to my feed, it's no longer being accessed. So it's a nice little indicator to let you know what's going on and what is taking advantage of what. Another great new security feature is the limited photos library access. In the past, if you enabled access to your photos library, that app would have access to your entire photos library. Now you can go in and choose what photos that the app has access to. Lastly, app and web developers can now offer you the option to convert your login credentials to sign in with Apple if this is something that you're interested in. This next feature is really neat. If you talk with someone through FaceTime that relies on sign language, you're going to love this, and that's sign language detection. So basically what happens is, as you're doing a FaceTime call, if someone is using sign language, it actually recognizes that they're using sign language, and FaceTime will zoom in on them and make them prominent in the call because they're the ones talking. It's really, really cool. Staying on the same accessibility theme, with iOS 14, your phone can now recognize sounds such as alarms and alert you by a message. Let me show you how to set it up. What you're gonna do is go into your settings, scroll down until you see accessibility, scroll down until you see sound recognition, tap on that, and toggle it on. Now it's going to use machine learning to recognize an alarm or a sound similar to an alarm and alert you what's going on. This is great for people that are hard of hearing or maybe even deaf. This might save your life if you don't have that good of hearing anymore. So make sure to check that out if it's something that you think could be beneficial to you. Screen recognition works in a similar way, but instead detects the interface controls to help with navigating apps. Let me show you how to turn it on. Staying inside the accessibility settings, if we tap on spoken content, we now have the option for speak selection and speak screen. Speak screen is going to allow you to swipe down with 2 fingers from the top of the screen, and then you're going to hear about the content that's being displayed on the screen. So if I go ahead and toggle it on, for speech controller, we'll toggle that on. And now we're going to swipe down.
Speak selection off. A speak button will appear when you select text. Speak screen on. Swipe down with 2 fingers from the top of the screen to hear the content of the screen.
And you can see it's giving me some options right here.
Highlight content off. Highlight content.
So again, this is going to be great for people that have a hard time navigating their phone, whether it's because of fine motor or gross motor skills, or whether it's vision or hearing impairments. Just like screen recognition, text recognition can be enabled in the same setting. So right above speak screen, we have speak selection. If I toggle that on and then go into an email where I can select some text, highlight that text, tap speak, and then tap the language that I need it to read in.
Thanks for tipping, Jonathan.
There you go. So now it's going to speak back that highlighted or selected text in whatever language that I need it to speak in. Again, this is just a great accessibility feature. Moving on to something a little more universal, and that's the camera. iOS 14 brought a few improvements and additional features. Let me show you and tell you what they are. The first one is improvements to the processing speed and overall capture time. So if I take a couple pictures real quick, you can see overall it's just a little bit snappier. We now have quick take video on the iPhone XS and the iPhone XR. This is kind of a neat little feature. We also have an updated night mode on the iPhone 11 and the iPhone 11 Pro, which provides guidance to get a better shot. And it also offers the ability to cancel mid-shot. We have an exposure compensation control, so you can lock off your exposure. You don't have to worry about it changing on you. We also can mirror the front camera now, which is something that a lot of selfie takers are really gonna appreciate. And last but certainly not least, we have an improved QR code scanner for smaller scans, as well as codes that wrap around objects. Next up, we have a few FaceTime improvements. The first one is 1080p video quality for iPhone 10 and later. Of course, this is gonna increase the resolution of video calls, making everything a little bit more sharper and a little bit more crisp. There's also a new eye contact feature that uses machine learning to adjust the position of your eyes and face to make the video call a little bit more natural, even when you're looking directly at the screen instead of the camera. The last thing I want to show you is how to add a new button on the back of your iPhone to quickly launch things like your camera or to take a screenshot. Let me show you. So to enable this feature, you're going to go into your settings, you're going to go under accessibility, you're going to go under touch, scroll all the way down until you see back tap, and you have two options. You have double tap and triple tap. Double tap I have set up to open up my camera, which is a Siri shortcut. So if I go into double tap, we have a wide range of different things we can choose from, including system settings like app switcher, the control center, reachability, we could take a screenshot. We have some accessibility settings. And at the very bottom, we have our Siri shortcuts. So to create a Siri shortcut to open up the camera, go into the Shortcuts app, tap on the plus symbol, tap on, tap on the plus symbol, and then tap on Add Action. Go into Scripting, tap on Open App, select the camera app, tap Next, and then that's it. Since I already have it set up, I'm not gonna go through the process again because I don't want a duplicate shortcut. And then go back into your back tap or double tap setting, select your Siri shortcut to open up the camera, and that's it. For my triple tap, I have screenshot set up. Now how it works is you just double tap the back, you can see it just opened up my camera. And if I do a triple tap, you can see it will take a screenshot, just like so. It's not perfect, and it's definitely not going to be the greatest with a case on your phone, but it will still work nonetheless. I think it's a really awesome feature regardless. It just gives you a little bit more functionality with your iPhone. Well, that was 20 iOS 14 tips and tricks. I actually have like 10 more cool tips and tricks, but I'll save that for another video. Let me know how you're enjoying iOS 14 in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a thumbs up. Subscribe for more videos just like this, and I will see you drop dead gorgeous people in the next one.